Hello, I'm Refashionista Sheri, and you know those sweatshirts that are sitting at the back of your closet or hidden in a drawer or maybe just, stuffed on the floor in a corner somewhere? Well, today I have a bunch of very, very easy Refashionista tutorials to help you upcycle and transform them into something you will actually wear. These tutorials span over a decade and start at 2013, then go all the way through. Oh, I made this one in 2016 and it's still going strong. And you can see how I did it without sewing anything coming up very soon. But then the very last tutorial is going to be a brand new one from 2025. And I'm going to transform this very holy sweatshirt into something that I will actually wear. And I think we're just going to do a couple of snips and maybe a few hand stitches, and that's it. So stick around to the end and see what I'm going to do with this. But right now, let's get making. Of the 3 projects that I made out of these boots, this one is absolutely my favorite, and I have worn it so many times over the years. And it is, of course, using the fringe on my awesome fluorescent sweatshirt. So, of course, all you need is some fringe and a sweatshirt. And then chop open one of the sweatshirt arms from the cuff all the way to the underarm seam. Then pop your fringe into that chopped underarm area and stitch it on, and that's it. Repeat it with the other side and you have the most adorable fringed sweatshirt. So today I'm going to show you how to transform a groovy sweatshirt into a fab bubble skirt. For this easy peasy project, you'll need a funky old sweatshirt, a t-shirt that fits you comfortably around the waist, your scissors, and your sewing gear. So your first step is to simply chop through under those underarm seams to separate the top from the bottom. Then you want to grab your t-shirt and repeat the same process, chopping straight on through under those underarm seams to separate the top from the bottom. To create a super comfortable waistband, take the bottom of that t-shirt, fold it back over onto itself, and stitch the open end together. Pop your cool new waistband over top of the bottom of that sweatshirt with the right sides facing and the side seams lined up, and then go ahead and stitch them together. Use a tight, wide zigzag, and as you're stitching, stretch the fabric so it matches up. Once you have it all stitched together, flip it right side out and do a quick, tight, wide zigzag over that outside seam for extra strength and to help prevent any fraying. Then go wear it. So, yeah, you just caught me coming back from my workout, and you know what? Today, Sheri's going to show you just how quick and simple it is to transform that sweaty old sweatshirt into something fit for the summer days. And you know something else? There's no friggin' sewing involved, so, stick around and get making. For this fantastically fast no-sew project, all you need is a sweatshirt and your scissors. Now, I wasn't super happy with the kind of dull gray color of my sweatshirt, so first I gave it a bath in some yellow dye, and then I decided to give it a spray with some funky blue and white spray dye. So now comes the super fun part, chopping your sweatshirt up into any kind of design that you'd like. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give this quite a deconstructed look and chop off the neckline, the sleeves, and the bottom hem, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I always prefer to flip my sweatshirts and t-shirts that I'm chopping up inside out so I can actually follow close to the original interior seams, and then I'm not left with any kind of big mistakes or hangy bits that need to be dealt with later. I wasn't super happy with how my bottom chopped hem actually came out, so I've decided I'm going to give it a nice gentle high-low look.
So how to do that is I simply popped the shirt on, marked the front at the highest point I'd like my end result to be, then folded the shirt in half sideways. Now, if your shirt has side seams, it's super easy. You just kind of line up those side seams. Because mine doesn't, I kind of just felt my way and went ahead and lined up those underarm seams to try to get it as even as possible. Alrighty, and then all you want to do is just chop at a gentle angle from your highest point all the way down to the end. And now your fancy no-sew sweatshirt is complete. If you like, you can go ahead and round off that back bottom edge, but I kind of like this little bit of a heart feature back there, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And now I'm going to go pop it on and yeah, enjoy my groovy new sweatshirt.
I thought I would try to transform this kind of too tight, uncomfortable sweatshirt and this cute, but I'm just not feeling it anymore scarf. So let's go see how I can put these together and refashion them into something I'll actually wear.
So I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm still not entirely sure. So let's just see how it goes. So for this project, you need your sweatshirt and a scarf. And I think these actually look pretty nice together. There's kind of a shimmery gold in the scarf, and of course the pinks, the gold here, and white. So yeah, let's just see what happens. Okay, so my idea here is to add pieces of the scarf to the side to like totally create new sides. So I got to get rid of the existing side and the sleeves. So I've turned the sweatshirt inside out. So now I'm just going to chop straight up through the bottom hem all the way through the sleeves and shoulder to completely remove the sides. Okay, so now I guess I've basically created like a giant kind of bib that would go over your head. So let's add some sides to it. Okay, so I think the easiest thing to do here with my scarf is to just kind of add it to the sides here. So very first thing I need to do is measure the length from one end all the way to this other end so I can create the correct length of the scarf. So now that I have my scarf cut to the right length, I need to chop it in half so I have a piece for each side of my shirt. And the easiest way to do that is I have folded it lengthwise once, twice, and now I'm going to fold it widthwise once, making sure everything is as lined up as possible. I mean, it's just a cheap fast fashion scarf, so you know, it doesn't have the cleanest of edges here to line up, but we're doing a good job, I think. And now I'm just going to cut this whole folded piece of fabric in half. And now I have two pretty darn equal pieces of fabric to add to the sides of my shirt. So I've now laid my shirt down with the wrong side facing down, and I'm going to start from the front and place one piece of my scarf right at the bottom hem. And you can see here I am just using the finished edge of my scarf on the bottom as well as on the side here. So the raw edges, the chopped raw edges here on the shirt and on the scarf are going to get all lined up together. And then I'm just going to go stitch all the way down to the back of the shirt on one side. So I did go ahead and stitch on both sides and it looks so super adorable. And you know what? If I just wanted to keep it like this, I could be done and have a poncho. But I think I want to add some kind of sleeve detail here. So the first thing I need to do is keep this right side out because we need to have our sleeve seams on the outside, not on the inside, because if they were on the inside, then when you flip the shirt right side out, the kind of floaty, flappy part would disappear to the inside of the top. And we don't want that. We want it to be on the outside. Okay, so next, I've grabbed a top that is quite wide. And actually, this is one I made out of a tablecloth years ago. Okay, just lining everything up here. Make sure the collar is pretty even. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. So what you want to do is just about 1 centimeter or 2 below the existing kind of underarm seam. You want to mark it. Just going to pop a little pin in there. And then you want to stitch straight down from that mark, all the way down to the bottom hem. And then this part up here is going to be your sleeve. You'll have your seam, and then this part here will be a little bit flappy, floaty in the breeze. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see. So I have stitched down both sides. Now it's time to go try it on and style it up. How adorable did this one come out? I know I keep saying this, and I'm stuck. Sorry, just a second. I know I keep saying this, but I'm like really surprising myself recently with how adorably wonderful all of my ideas are coming out. I mean, as you know, like over 90% of the tutorials that I share, I've never done it before. So as I'm doing it, that's, you know, the first time we're like doing this together, basically for the very first time. We're going to do something to this Mickey Mouse sweatshirt here, and we're going to upsize it because it's very tight on me. Now, there is a reason I have squeezed my body into this, though, and I do have a bit of a story time, which you can watch that, and then we'll jump right into the tutorial. Or if you're not interested in the adorably heartfelt story behind this Mickey Mouse sweatshirt, timestamps are below and you can skip right ahead to the tutorial. So today, while I was thrifting, I discovered yet another reason why thrifting, reusing, refashioning pre-loved secondhand is so fantastic. And I was there because I had a 30% off kids wear coupon, and I thought, hey, let's see if I can find something for my kiddo. So I'm going through the racks and I see something that just, hit me. Like, it hit me. I felt sad, nostalgic, mixed with a little bit of happiness, like so many emotions. And of course I got it because, I mean, it's 30% off. And I had a physical reaction to this Mickey Mouse sweatshirt. So as I was walking home, I was thinking, what the hell was that? I mean, yeah, it's great. I got a cool Mickey Mouse sweatshirt, but what was that feeling? And then I remembered that in a photo album somewhere, I knew I had a picture of little me wearing this exact gray Mickey Mouse sweatshirt, and there it is. Yes, there is 1983 Refashionista Sheri wearing this exact sweatshirt. And I know it's 1983 because it says 1983 Christmas on the back. And I mean, seriously, it's such an amazing feeling. You know, this has not ever happened to me before, that I actually found something from my own Gen Xer childhood at the thrift shop. And I didn't have the most happiest childhood in the world. And I still, you know, struggle with stuff from my childhood. But I think this is going to kind of help me get over some of those things, just knowing that I have this. And this really was one of my favorite things. It made me happy. One of the few things that made me happy as a kid. And yeah, so I'm going to upsize it and I'm going to recapture that happiness for myself. So I think the easiest way to upsize this is going to, of course, be to add some side panels. Now, for sure, it's going to need to be from the sleeve cuffs all the way to the bottom hem, so like the entire side. But luckily, I just happen to have the leftovers from that pink sweatshirt that I transformed into that kind of floaty top. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the sides that I chopped from the pink sweatshirt to the sides of this Mickey Mouse sweatshirt. So let's do it. So I flipped the sweatshirt inside out, and I just had a thought to check the sleeve cuffs, because if they're not too tight, and they're totally not, it's like up to my elbow and it's fine, then I'm going to simply chop them off and then reattach them once I've upsized the sides of the sweatshirt. And now I have folded the sweatshirt as evenly in half as I can, and I'm just gonna basically follow this seam and chop all the way down both of the sides. I also went ahead and chopped off those thick side seams, and let's set them aside and maybe we'll use them in a future project. I absolutely love it when I can use the scraps from one project to fix up and refashion another project, and especially when it happens like so quickly, kind of one after another. Anyway, so I took the chopped pink sweatshirt sides and sleeves and chopped off the cuffs, and those will go in my stash for a future project. Next, I went ahead and evened up those pink side panels. There was quite a bit of excess fabric on the sides that I had to chop off to make them into relatively neat long rectangles. And now it's time to finally put it all together. So I'm going to open up my Mickey Mouse sweatshirt and grab one of my side pieces, making sure I have it the right way round, because I'm going to put the bottom of the pink sweatshirt piece, of course, to the bottom of my gray sweatshirt. And I'm just going to line up the raw edges with right sides facing as kind of evenly as I can, and then go stitch that together. So now that I have one side successfully stitched on all the way down to the sleeve ends, yay! I was a bit worried it wasn't going to be long enough, but it worked out perfectly here. So now I can go stitch on the other side and then do the other side of the sweatshirt too. And look at that, I have both of the sides now completely upsized. Now I just have to reattach those sleeve cuffs because that's not looking so great. So let's do that right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab my chopped sleeve cuffs, the original ones from the sweatshirt, and which is, oh, this would be the inside. So let's pop them together with right sides facing and those chopped edges lined up, and then go stitch them together, of course stretching as I stitch here because it definitely needs that because the sleeves are now a little bit wider, which actually might give it a little bit of a puff here on the bottom. Let's go see. So the new old cuffs are now stitched back on. Let's flip it and check it, and that looks absolutely perfect. Let's go try it on. Yes, it came out so perfectly. Woo! I am so pleased with this one, and it is comfortable, it is loose, it looks just amazing, and seriously, I'm so pleased with this. Small pieces of fabric that they're so super cool, you do not want to let them go, or maybe something you cut out because there's a really neat applique or a patch on it. Well, today we are going to create an absolutely adorable summer outfit using a couple items that you don't wear anymore and that bag of scraps. So let's get making. For this quick and easy cover-up project, all you need is the item that needs a bit of covering up and a bunch of patches or fabric scraps. So now, even though I am Canadian, I really don't want to walk around with a shirt that has the capital city's name emblazoned across it. I don't care how cool and vintage it is. I just don't want to do it. So I have chosen this patch. I think the colors go really nicely and it should be enough to cover that up. And on the back, that damaged area, I'm going to use this one finally that, you know, I chopped out from one of my kiddos outgrown shorts, and that fits perfectly there. And then the small piece that I have left over from another project that I chopped this one up for is going to cover up there. So let's start with the front. All right, so I have this arranged in a way that it's covering everything up, and I know this is not going to move here. This is covering up the bulk of the lettering, but you can see here, I can't just pin this and stitch this on here because this is going to be bulky and kind of hang awkwardly. So what I'm going to do is just carefully snip this off. Okay. And now I can arrange this perfectly where I want it to be. And I'm just going to tuck that under there. Do like this, tuck this piece under there as well. And now I can go pin this in place. So that is all pinned in place. But as I was doing that, I noticed up here is actually damaged as well, right on the collar. So I think what I'm going to do is chop off this bit here and use that up on the collar area to cover up this bit of a snag in the collar. Doesn't that look so much better now? Now it's time to flip it over and fix up the back. So I now have the back patches nicely placed over top of those kind of, they weren't really holes, more like it looks like it got caught on something and there was like runs in it, like, you know, you'd have with your nylons or tights or pantyhose, that kind of a thing, which is another very 80s situation, I think.
Wow, is this ever adorable? Look at those patches. Yeah, you might you might be wondering, what the heck? Why is that in slow-mo? It's not in slow-mo. That's my acting ability. It's okay everywhere else, but it's very tight here, and that is because I got this adorable kind of ruffly sleeved sweatshirt for my kiddo, but she doesn't like it. So I'm going to see how I can upsize it for myself, but I'm going to challenge myself a little bit today. And I decided I'm going to try to only use the fabric that is existing already. So I'm not going to add any exterior outside fabric to this. I'm just going to see how I can chop it and redesign it to make it fit me. So let's get making.
For this hopefully a quick and easy project, all you need is your too small sweatshirt, your scissors, and your sewing gear. Okay, so of course the easiest way to upsize this would be to simply add side panels, which is what I did in my 30 Days of Refashions Gen X Upsize. Okay, but this one, as I said, I want to kind of challenge myself here and see if I can simply use this fabric itself to upsize the sweatshirt. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do here is flip it inside out. But before I do that, let's just take a look at these sleeves. Are so cool. This is why I got this for my kiddo, because first of all, she loves the color lilac, just like I do. And these sleeves are super cool. So it's, you know, like this kind of insert here in the sleeve, and it goes all the way around, and I just think it looks super cool. Maybe it looks a bit too 80s for her though. Okay, anyway. Okay, so I have my sweatshirt inside out, and I have grabbed a shirt that has my ideal length that I would like this sweatshirt to eventually have. So I don't know about you guys, but in my older years now, I am actually wearing a lot of shorter and cropped styles. I don't know why that is. When I was younger, I was terrified to wear them, but I guess, you know, as you age, you just don't really give a shit anymore, and you wear what you want to wear, which I love so much. And here, as you can see, I have lined up my shoulder seams, and I am just going to chop my sweatshirt to size here. Okay, so the fantastic thing with sweatshirt and t-shirt fabric is it doesn't fray. So if I don't want to hem this up, I don't have to. And the same goes for you. If you just want to leave that raw edge like that, by all means, go ahead. It is not going to fray. And when you wash it, sweatshirt material actually doesn't really curl up as much as t-shirt material, but sometimes after you wash it and throw it in the dryer, it does curl back on itself a little bit. Okay, so what I plan on doing though is reattaching this bottom hem sweatshirt band to my sweatshirt, which is going to actually give it a little bit more shape, I think. And if I want that, you know, few centimeters of extra length, then it's there. So I, of course, need to carefully chop this off so I can reattach it. Okay, so I'm going to set aside my sweatshirt bottom elastic hem for now, and look at this. You see this here? I think I'm going to use this part from the chopped bottom to add some extra space here in the shoulder area. And I definitely have more than enough here. I'm just gonna chop this in half and then we'll see how we're going to insert it. Okay, so now I have two pieces, but I'm going to have to cut off one of the sealed up ends here so it will be able to go all the way around the sweatshirt. Okay, so I just realized that this, I think, is one of those cases where I can see it in my head, but maybe I am not articulating or explaining it correctly. So what I plan on doing is, you see now I have this very super long, nice piece of the sweatshirt. And what I'm hoping to be able to do is chop here and then add this piece, like line it up with the shoulder here. And that's what I meant by having a nice long piece. So it will go around the back and the front, of course. And then I should have this much more on both sides to work for upsizing. And I mean, I don't actually need that much more, but that's what I'm going to use. And then it will be super duper loose and comfy on my chest. Okay, so I have had to flip my sweatshirt right side out again because this is just very, very thick and I do not want to accidentally chop off this little kind of ruffly detail here because I can't see it when it's inside out. So you can leave your sweatshirt inside out though if you don't have this to worry about. Okay, so you can see here I have folded my sweatshirt in half as evenly as possible with the shoulder seams lined up, the sleeves lined up, the underarm seam lined up, and of course, most important, the side seams lined up. Right, now I am simply going to chop straight on through from the bottom all the way up to through the shoulder seam. And now my sweatshirt is totally opened up because the sides are gone. And now all I have to do is grab one of those long lengths of fabric, and this center seam here, I'm just going to match that up with the shoulder seam, like so, and pin it in place. Okay, and now all I have to do is go stitch it all the way down so my panel will be attached, and I'm going to go do that on both sides. Okay, so this is why it is so important to always make sure that you have the right sides facing. Clearly, I did not do that on this side, and now, yeah, I have to unpick this. Luckily, I noticed it about halfway through, so I'm going to go unpick this and then redo it. Okay, that's much better. I now have both sides done properly here. So now it's time to reattach the sides and the sleeves. Okay, this took me way too long to figure out how to get these two pieces back together, but thankfully I have cracked it, I think. So I need to have my side piece, sleeve piece right side out and my body piece also right side out for this second. And now I'm going to flip the body piece over top like so. So now I do still have the right sides facing and the shoulder seams are lined up. And now I can just go stitch it all around and stitch it together. How awesome does that look? And I think I got these inserts pretty darn even, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I did try it on. It fits so much better. It is so much more comfortable. So now all I have to do is pop this bottom hem back on. And to do that, I'm just going to, of course, put it together with right sides facing and the raw edges lined up, and then go stitch it together, and then we can try it on and style it up. Hooray! Another awesomely fantastic upsize, and this time did not use side panels. We added front and back panels and used just the fabric from the sweatshirt. So how awesome is that? And you see, look, we have line. Sorry, you can so tell I have never taken a sewing class or a fashion design class, because that's not a line, that's a seam, right? Yeah, okay. So being self-taught is not a bad thing. If I can do it, anybody can. And look at the awesome results here. So I thrifted this a couple of months ago now, I think, on the Carrot app with a whole bunch of other things from the same seller, and it was less than $5, so perfect. If you missed that thrift haul, I shall link it down below for you. But for now, let's get started on this glorious holy sweatshirt here. And to do this, all I'm going to use are my scissors and my hand sewing gear. So the very first thing I'm going to do actually is... So as you can see, this is quite long, and I mean, I can even pull it down further, but it's just an awful length. The sleeves are also pretty long as well, so we're going to work on all of that, and it's going to be super simple. The first thing I have in my hand here is a pin, and I'm just going to put a pin here right at about the top of where my trousers are sitting. You can kind of see my waistband here, and I'm just going to chop on through, and then the length is going to be sorted out. And here is an awesome Refashionista tip for you. Never throw out those chopped sweatshirt bottoms, because they make super duper comfortable waistbands for all of those future skirts, trousers, and lounge pants that you'll be refashioning for yourself. You can see I now have the sweatshirt inside out, and I'm simply going to chop off the neckline area here because it's a little bit tight and constricted, and we would like the whole thing to have a very cool deconstructed look. Ta-da! And this is so much more comfortable already, and it looks so much better already. And all we did was 2 quick chops, no sewing involved. But now we're going to do the tiniest bit of hand sewing to really bring this to life and make it very, very cool. So you want to grab a pin again and straighten out one of the sleeves, and then about 4 or 5 centimeters below your elbow, just pop that pin in there. That is where we're going to make our next cuts. You can see I now have my top folded neatly in half with the shoulder seams lined up, as well as the cuffs as even as I could get them. One seems to be a touch longer than the other, but I'm going to fix that right now. And you can see as well, here's my pin that I put in. So I'm just going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to chop through both sleeves just straight across. Now I have laid my shirt out flat once again, and I have my sleeve here. I have the chopped bottom part of the sleeve over here. These are the ones that actually go together. Now I'm going to grab that chopped bottom part and flip it inside out. And then I'm going to pop the sleeve that's still on the shirt into the inside out chopped sleeve bit. Sorry, I'm saying sleeve a lot, but again, we got 2 pieces of sleeve going on here. Okay, so you want to make sure that your sleeve cuff is lined up with the chopped edge of the sleeve that's still attached. And once you see this, trust me, it really does look good. Anyway, so the reason that we have to have one piece inside out and the other one right side out is so when we flip this down, the right sides will all be facing the correct way. Okay, so the easiest way to line this up is to simply use those existing side seams. So you see we have the same seam here on the cuff, and we have it here on the chopped sleeve. So I'm just going to line those up together. And because we're going to be hand sewing this, you don't really even have to pin it because you're going to be stretching as you stitch because you want them to be as evenly matched up as possible. So now let's start stitching. And if you are unsure about hand stitching or you just want to maybe brush up on your skills, I highly recommend taking my Sewing, Mending, and More course. It is a video course with, of course, PDF downloads included and tons of tutorials, tons of step-by-step how-tos, and it costs less than a trip to the thrift shop. So again, go check it out. The link will be down below for you. But I'm going to go stitch this on, and then we're going to flip it down, and you are going to be amazed at how cool this result is going to be. Okay, it is all stitched together. And are you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this because when we flip it right side out, look at that. We have some absolutely adorable bell sleeves. So let's go try this on and style it up. Okay, I'm gonna pause my 80s rock here and show you how absolutely phenomenal this looks on and styled, and it is amazing. And again, what was it? 1 chop, 2 chop, 3 chops, and 2 very, very, very quick seams. So once again, if I can do this, you can do this. I just showed you how to do it. And pop on over to refashionistasheri.com because that's where all of my amazing upcycling goodness lives, and you can check out all my freebies, my very cheap and cheerful courses, my cheap and cheerful ebooks, and of course buy print books, as well as get to every single bit of refashioning folklore learning. I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's all there, refashionistasheri.com. So go, let me know if you're going to try to make one of these for yourself, because you saw how easy it was, how quick it was. Grab those sweatshirts, use this video, and upstyle absolutely everything to create your dream wardrobe. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. Oh, and go to refashionistasheri.com and join my rockin' Refashionista revolution.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.